Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Technical Hiring Conclave 2021. I am Sukriti Advanshi, a proud host of this event. I'm thrilled to be here and welcome our eminent guests, industry speakers, and our lovely audience. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. It's time for us to kickstart the event. And to begin with, attracting top talent is essential for almost all the organizations today. Reports suggest that 52% of people who apply for a job are underqualified, and 47% of companies report few or no qualified applicants for the positions they're trying to fill in. In today's competitive job market, top talent won't be falling in your lap anytime soon. And today, at this virtual conclave, you will see industry stalwarts talk about the methods, strategies, and the impact that comes along with the entire recruitment process. But before I go ahead and unfold a sequence of interesting segments that you are about to witness, I would like to invite Mr. Rakesh Pandey, Head Project Delivery for TG Pro.
Thanks, Sukriti. So, hello everyone. I am glad and very excited to welcome all of you in TechGig Technical Hiring Conclave 2021. So, as we all know that to create a newest product or to scale an existing product, every company in world is in need of hire best engineer from market, and all those engineers who are working on cutting edge technologies. In today's virtual world of working, I feel that we all are having those challenges in the process of hiring. So to answer all those questions on hiring, TechGig has curated this insightful event for all of you. So today we are going to witness the panel discussion about innovation in technical hiring from the industry leaders from SunTec Business Solution, ITC Infotech, Conduent, GS Associate, and TietoEVRY. Then we are going to have some exciting quiz on recruitment where we can win Amazon vouchers as well. So, and the third part is we are going to learn from recruitment expert Nabomita Mazumdar on how top companies are hiring these days. Without taking much of your time, I welcome all of you to TechGig Technical Hiring Conclave 2021. Thanks. Over to you, Sukriti.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pandey. I'm sure you've already given us a gist of what the audience can look forward to in terms of the excitement that we're going to create in the coming time for the conclave. Moving forward, audience, here's a special announcement for you that if you participate in each of the segments, there are certain scores that you will gain. And the more actively you participate, the better are your chances of ascending the leaderboard and standing a chance of winning Amazon vouchers worth rupees 8,000. And we will allocate 1,000 rupees vouchers to the top 8 engagements at the leaderboard who score the highest points. And the scores will be calculated basis. If you see the agenda, you score 5. If you visit the auditorium, you're scoring 5 points. If you're visiting the exhibition hall, you score 10. If you don't go for a video chat with the booth staff, you score 20. If you're downloading the brochure, you score 20. Chatting in the networking lounge will give you 40, and filling in the inquiry form will give you 30. Last but not the least, participation in the trivia quiz, which is going to be most interesting part of our conclave today, will give you 50 points altogether. So the more you participate, the more scores you will have, and you will top the leaderboard, and will be, you'll be designated to win our Amazon vouchers worth rupees 8,000 altogether. Let's go ahead, and now it's time for me to call our panelists for the panel discussion on the merit of skill assessed profiles in building a strong talent pipeline. Folks, please join me in welcoming Michael Yesudas, Chief Technology Officer, SunTec Business Solutions. Mahesh Prabhu. Go ahead, Michael, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say hi. That's
Thank you. Mahesh Prabhu, Vice President and Global Head of Innovation, ITC Infotech India Limited.
Hello, everyone.
Dilip, Talent Acquisition Director, Conduent. Ashish, Bhambri, Human Resource Manager, Recruiting, ZS Associates India Limited.
Hi, everyone.
Priya, Tandon, Head of Healthcare, Welfare, Education, India Unit and Site Head, TietoEVRY, Pune.
Hello, everyone.
And Nitesh, Maan, Director of Media Engineering, dunnhumby.
Hi.
Okay, welcome to the conclave, everyone. Thank you so much for joining, our discussion today. And We're looking forward to some insightful conversation and some insightful stats and elements that we'll be discussing today. I would want to begin with the era of shortlisting tech talents through conventional resumes has has seen a shift altogether, and we are living in a time where business continuity and competitive advantage, selecting the right candidate is tough but a critical task altogether. But what are the key things that companies look for in a developer's resume? And would they prefer a resume full of features that that make the person eligible for even getting shortlisted? How do you calculate the ROIs, and how do you actually build the entire pipeline for yourself as a brand? I cannot wait, to get these answers from our panelists today. So I will quickly begin. Panelists, to start with, I would want to know from each one of you that how has our industry shifted from the educational credential-based hiring to skill-based hiring? Ashish, will begin with you.
Oh, okay. Well, I feel that not only industry, even education system has also evolved over a period of time. If you talk about technical education in India, especially when we completed our graduation, those were the times when we had only the traditional branches. But today you see a lot more specialized industry relevant branches in a lot of universities where they're focusing on like cybersecurity as one of the branches, which they know that is a hot skill in the industry right now. And while having a complete job-oriented curriculum is a far-fetched goal in our setup, I feel that gap is getting filled by a lot of companies by creating internal universities, and that is a culture which allows a lot of freshers getting trained on those skill sets which companies are looking for. So and that will continue. I think a lot of big firms and even smaller firms are adopting this culture of creating this internal universities so that they can build the talent within and can retain that talent for a longer period of time.
Thank you, Ashish. Dilip?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I agree with Ashish. And, one of the things which we are seeing in current times is to build up the pipeline because, during pandemic, we have seen at this moment also, we are seeing many offer decline. So organizations are challenged to create a pipeline, a healthy talent pipeline to cater to current requirements. And this is also shifting, this paradigm shift uh, today is forcing us to create, a kind of methods, innovative methods of maybe creating coding contests and creating hackathons and so on and so forth. So this is the shift from just a resume-based selection to a skill-based selection, and this is what we are seeing. Many companies are following now.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dilip. Mahesh?
Yeah, we all know that the tech demand is very, very high, and the availability of skilled resources is not able to match up to that demand. Regardless of how many engineering colleges we create or how many institutions we create and courses we create, that I think we have not been able to fill that gap. One of the reasons is also because the technology is changing very rapidly. And also what we have seen is today there is code available as open source, and you have code snippets for everything that you can think of. So there is not much of a need for people to understand the syntax, which used to be the case a couple of decades back. You had to know the syntax of everything that you're writing, but today that is irrelevant. So what is more important right now is having a strong foundation in your technical skills, whether you're a back-end developer, front-end developer. So to understand the whole concept and how the system works from your system to the cloud and backwards and so on. So having this fundamental knowledge is very important. And also there are newer ways of doing things today. Right. For example, there are many no-code and low-code platforms where you can drag, drop, and create something quickly. So today it's all about less is more. So you write less lines of code to achieve a lot of functionality. So with this entire change in the way we approach technology and the way we develop systems. So this is what makes a skill-based hiring probably more relevant than just the education-based. And in any case, when we talk about education, we are talking about BE and BTechs, but then we have almost all branches of BE and BTech getting into IT these days. So what you have learned in your formal education system is not what you're applying in your day-to-day work. So I think that part is irrelevant. So what is most relevant today is your intelligence, your logical reasoning, and your ability to understand how systems work and how you can quickly learn new things. So yeah, so that's the change that we are seeing, and I'm sure this change will only keep changing more rapidly.
Absolutely, and I completely, second that. The kind of demand that has increased past a couple of years, I should say, it's phenomenal. The kind of opportunities that people are getting, and the new domains that are coming up, I'm sure that's gonna, see a bigger boom altogether. I will move to Michael now.
Thank you, Sukriti. So we used to have a very strictly degree-driven approach within the technology industry, right? I remember in the 90s, it actually said, unless you have this experience and you have a degree in computing, don't apply, right? So, and we have seen democratization of knowledge. In the 2000s, right, I remember as a technical manager, hiring manager at that time, I was told to make sure that you hire people who have got good Google search skills. So if you have skills like that, which are now critical, if search skills are critical, then those things don't really relate to degree, right? And some people are able to dig up information from Google better than others. I'm sure many of you will probably agree. So we are been moving away from the basic degree-based approach into skills-based approach anyway. And over the past 10, 15 years, I've seen people just clubbing technology and science, and any degree is as good as any in the term for technology hires, right? And as we move a little bit past into the future, the pandemic kind of has accelerated. The necessity for talent suddenly has changed, shifted in the sense, it became you could hire from anywhere, right? And so it was both a buyer's and a seller's market kind of thing. And the degree equation suddenly became a far less important thing. Today, if you really have the sales skills, then you should be able to do the job. And the relevance that what I think about for the degree is for the soft skills of the person. Sometimes people who can articulate concepts and do logical reasoning, sometimes an actual training in a classroom would probably help. But as far as the advanced skills that we are looking for in the industry, it's purely skills based at this stage. It's safe to say that. Yes.
Interesting. I will move to Nitesh now.
Thank you, Sukriti. I think the shift from education credential based to the skill based, that is clearly evident in the hiring practices in the technology industry. But I think it's important to understand why that shift is taking place. I think the rapid changes in the technology sector has meant that the academia hasn't always been able to keep pace with the changes they need to make in their curriculum. Even the best of the best education institutes in the country have a very long drawn, complex process of overhauling the curriculum, which means the engineering graduates do not always have the skill set which is relevant to the industry. The need of the hour is workforce which is skilled in technologies that the industry sees as potential growth drivers for the businesses. technologies such as AI, ML, big data, to name a few. And it is this, need which has tilted the scale towards skills getting a greater importance, a higher weightage. And you see edtech platforms coming in to fill this gap. There are now bite-sized courses available which you can access anytime, anywhere, on demand, and you can quickly bring yourself up to date with the skill set that you are interested in and that you see the demand curve shifting towards. And I think as a result of that, the hiring practices are also going to have to adapt. Your key talent may not today be sitting in metro cities, because for them to get education, they've got a plethora of online avenues, and they could be sat anywhere in the country and getting themselves up to date with those skills, which means your hiring practices, you have to cast a wide net, and you have to be really open-minded about where you search for talent.
Thank you, Nitesh. Priya, what would you add here?
Yeah, actually, all my industry colleagues have already said most of the things, but I would like to put a little different aspect also over here, which is not that education degree has any, we are undermining that degree at all, frankly speaking. But what is today important is how do you implement that knowledge that you have received in a university. And I think these life skills are more important than implementation skills, are more important than you just understanding this stuff. So theoretical has its own importance for sure. I will never undermine that at all. However, the critical skills, the critical thinking skills, or how to deal with the ambiguity skills, because this is a VUCA world. And do you know how to maneuver to this VUCA world is a skill. And I think these generations and millennial generations and alpha generation, I'm ready to take them as my managers, as long as they are ready to demonstrate those skills over there. And I think that is where the paradigm shift has happened, which is when we have shifted from recruitment to talent acquisition. That's when the whole shift has happened. So I think the question was answered 10 years back, which is education-based to skill-based. I think what is most important over here is, are you able to show your critical skills at the right time, at the right place, to be able to encash on it. So I think that's where the whole shift has happened into this world of pandemic, or pre-pandemic a little bit, and post-pandemic also. Yeah.
Thank you, Priya. So, now that we have the perspectives added here, I would want to deep dive and understand from each one of you now. So, Mahesh, I would want to ask that what is the credibility of skill and performance in technical assessments, to be very specific?
Yes, Sukriti, if you look at what kind of assessments we typically do when we're talking of, let's say, a lateral hiring. So it is typically interview based, right? And what do we check there? I mean, typically you're checking whether the candidate is able to answer questions. And we know that people are good at preparing their CVs. So there's a lot of CV preparation service also available on the internet today. So people are able to present a nice CV to you, so which you're impressed with. People are also able to, because they do have some time before the interview actually happens, so they are able to actually come prepared for the interviews. So which means and also there are certain tech questions that are the question banks, everything is available, so people can read up and come back and give you the right answer. However, what gets missed out here is, so the ability to answer a question versus ability to do a job. Are these two in sync? And most of the times if you're just sticking to the interview type of format, then you're losing out on the second aspect. Another thing also is that there is vastness in every tech stack, so it is very it's not possible for any individual to master everything that is there. So he may be an expert in a given stack, but still he will not be able to answer everything that is there. So there is also a possibility that the interviewer will reject good candidates. How do you balance this, right? So we have to understand that everybody does not need to know everything. So as long as they have the ability to extrapolate what they have learned and apply that in newer situations. So from that perspective, so the specific knowledge of a given technology is not so much important, but the overall understanding of the fundamentals and the ability for that person to implement it. And even if he's searching on the Google or looking at open source code snippets, whatever way, if the job is getting done, and how soon can he think on his feet and implement. So that is very important. So we have also tried some unconventional ways of hiring. You know, we have our annual tech event called iTech, where we do hackathons, and you have some startup tech showcase and so on. In the hackathon specifically, we give challenges that are given by our customers around the globe across industries. So and these typically hackathons last for 2 days. So 48 hours, no sleep, and people have to find out real solutions. And they have to not only answer questions, but they'll have to actually demonstrate and create a working prototype. So when people get into these kind of activities, then the quality of hires that we have seen, is much different than the quality that you would get in a traditional interview-based hiring. I think another thing that we have also seen is for campus hires and for fresh graduates. So something like having an internship model where we are able to offer, let's say, a 3-month or a 6-month internship, where they come and we have interruption labs where we do research on emerging technologies, and we encourage the interns to play around with the new technologies and again give them some specific problems to solve. And if they're able to solve this within the given time, although 3 months may seem a short time, but it's definitely better than 1 hour interview. So when they try this out, and then when they're able to achieve something and come back and demonstrate actually what they have built, so that gives more confidence, and that way we are also able to get better talent than a normal traditional interview-based hiring.
Thank you, Mahesh, for that. Dilip, I will, move to you now and help me understand what is the merit and feasibility of verified core skills to shortlist a candidate. Because as Mahesh spoke, there are formats, there are, questions that we look at when it comes to hiring the right candidate, the technical talent that we're talking about here. So, what do you think about this?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Preeti, and I fully agree with Mr. Mahesh. The interview-based selection process is now quite changing, and now look at the current situation. The pandemic is not yet over. Industry, we are all facing high attrition rates, high offer declines, and digital technology is rapidly changing every day. The new technologies are coming up. The entire thing, everything is changing so fast. There is a lot of focus on health, wellness, and other concerns, of the employees. So looking at this, there is a demand for diversified skills. This demand has increased, and organizations are looking for workforce which can work in a complete dynamic environment. Now, to assess such kind of situation and such kind of talent is another challenge. Now, as I told in my first comment, that we are currently facing offer declines in technology world. Multiple offers candidates are having, and then the decline at the last moment. We, as a talent acquisition leader, we have to create a very healthy talent pipeline. Now we have to have people who are, who can fit into the current requirement of the business needs, who are dynamic, who are skilled. So we need to find out, definitely we need to find out the new methods of assessing the right talent. All right. So like Mr. Mahesh said, hackathons and coding context and various, methods we are devising. And internally also, not only as a single interview based, but we are having panel interviews, we are having situational questions, and the interview process has also changed as far as technologies are concerned. Most of the hiring managers, they always say that, resume looks very good, fantastic, but the while interviewing the candidate, we find that the person is not having necessary skills, and that's why we see a lot of rejections. So I think there's a lot of merit in having verified core skills and list of shortlisted candidates who are already verified through various methods. I mean, we can't just judge on one or two methods, but then we have to work out various methods and then create a talent pipeline which is as dynamic as the world is right now, as the technology is right now, and can fit into the current work environment.
Thank you, Dilip. With this, which, Mahesh and you, both of you have just spoken about how coding competitions and hackathons have, been very helpful in finding the talent that you're looking for. I'm sure, as brands, when you reach out in the market, when you put out your problems and you get real-time solutions from the crowd that you are actually looking at, even if you're not shortlisting or hiring that candidate, but you have a perspective, that's an add-on, right? So I think that is the biggest value that you can drive from such events. And I think we at TechGeek also host our annual event called Code Gladiators that we do every year, which is India's biggest coding competition, I should say. And here in all the brands that we have collaborated with, they have been instrumental in finding those solutions from the candidates that who have registered and participated in their coding competitions and the final submissions or the problems that they had put out. So I completely agree with what both of you have put in. I will now move to Ashish. Ashish, you are managing the whole recruitment process for your organization. You can help me understand that what are the methods to yield the right ROI when we look at the entire hiring process altogether.
Thanks, Sukriti. And I think as far as methods are concerned, Mahesh and Dilip have already touched upon most of the points. So maybe I can touch upon first the ROI, that how what kind of elements we can look at when it comes to the ROI. So broadly, I look at three categories. So first is the candidate experience, then comes the cost, and the last one is the performance indicator, or the way you are measuring the performance of these people. So largely when it comes to the candidate experience, today in today's scenario, you need to have a robust process yet simplified process. Why I'm saying this, because there was a time, and even today, ZS is termed as one of the top 10 toughest firms to crack in India. I think we were seventh in some years. So. But now I think with the times are changing, I think you need to have a simplified process, and not to mention that you have to really compromise on the quality, but keeping the candidate experience at the center. And how would you want to make sure that the people whom you're interviewing, you can complete your process in a certain time, and giving a good experience to that candidate. So definitely one ROI element is candidate experience. And technology is going to be the key to scale in future, and keeping this candidate experience in mind. And like Mahesh and Dilip spoke about hackathons, so that will certainly take the center stage, and these tools will help us to stay ahead in the game. On top of that, there is another element of interviewing as a service. Which is one of its kind capability, which allows you to keep the human element there. I know that some of the tech folks here they might agree that tools and everything will be there and will always be there, I still would want to have a human element. I would still want my managers to, interview these people and really assess them, from that aspect. So this kind of a service really allows you to have that human element, yet save a lot of internal time, cost of your own folks, as they are spending time, even if I just keep as X dollars per hour of your, or your consultants or your, senior folks in the team. You just, save 1 hour of those folks, and the amount of money that you give to the services, it's like 1/20th or 1/30th of that amount. So that is where the second element of cost, comes in. And last but not the least is the performance indicator. Doing all this, introducing technology tools to assess people, and then of course interviewing as a service. It is always important to keep a check on these methods. That are they giving you right people in the system? While there is a need to scale, there is a need to stay ahead in the game. There is always a need to make sure that you are not impacting your company's culture with radical ideas of adding people in the system. While radical ideas are important, but at the same time there has to be some checks and balances. It could be half yearly or yearly, that whatever I did in at the starting of 2021, what kind of performance indicators do I see of those people by the end of 2021? And this cycle keeps running. Come 2022, even today I'm talking to my leaders that okay, now again we'll have to come up with some radical ideas the way we did it late 2020. So we need to do the same in this year. So that cycle will keep running. You can't just stay or stay content that okay, my process is now sorted, and now, as mentioned, offer drop is not a concern. I have enough pipeline. Today you might have, tomorrow you might not. So that ways your methods will keep changing, and so is your ROI.
Thank you, Ashish. I think that completely makes sense. And I think that is going to evolve at a time gap of 6 months that we are looking at right now, right? Because it's something or the other comes in and you have to keep up to the trend. So agreeing on to that, with this, I would want to actually move to Michael. And being the technology officer, Michael, you'll help me understand here that how do you think these technical assessments are accurate measures to evaluate a candidate's skill? How far do you think these are reliable, and how would you recommend it? Just your thoughts here, please.
So they're very relevant, short answer, right? So let me put it this way to you. With all the skills that you've got, right? I want to have somebody who can ride a bicycle and not someone who has understood how the bicycle works, right? So if you want to do that, you can ask someone, even in an interview process, 10 times, can you ride a bicycle? And they will probably say yes, right? But riding a bicycle is not only just knowing its controls, but you have to negotiate the traffic, you need to follow the rules. There are many things that follow just riding the bicycle. So I want them to have a little bit of a demo, if that's the best way to do it, to show me how you can ride a bicycle. What hiring platforms provide for us is the ability for us to actually see a short demo of how they would ride the bicycle, right? And sometimes also things like how you can work together as a group, right? So using hiring platforms is extremely important because that's the only way that we can actually get a flavor of how exactly this can happen. And all my managers, right, all 20 of them, they all have to go out and actually figure out when a candidate is being hired or offered, they must have some evidence that they can indeed do the job as what their resume says, right? So that is one requirement that I put upon all my managers. I said, I don't need to review any hiring, but you got to make sure that this actually happens. And the easiest way they can do it is to say, okay, here are the results from the hiring platform, and therefore, at least the person has demonstrated that, right? And they, these days you get lots of evidence and so on. The other important reason about using of user platforms is that we want to get a lot of broad skills, but there is a certain level of depth also that you need. And in order to get that depth, right, it's not the process of getting people is not uniform, right? If we just purely rely on the interviewer process, right, you will have this issue of one day the exam is too difficult and the other day it's too easy, right? So you have that subjectivity that comes into play. So you need to make sure that you neutralize that totally, and the platform being non-personal actually provides that. And finally, the most important thing for us, right? We are always, all of us, right? Me and all the panelists, we are all on a hunt for good talent, right? And that obviously goes not only beyond just tech skills, but it goes into the values of what that person has been and has done in the past, as well as the cultures they actually come from, the work cultures they come from. So in order to do that, you need to cast the net wide, and whereas we can still interview people over the video calls, the best ways in which we can actually do this is to make sure that they are actually qualified candidates before we actually go in for the interview. So remember what Ashish said is that there is a human element to it, and I 100% agree with him. And the human element needs to be at the stage where we are sure that the candidate is or appears to be in that niche that we are actually looking for. You need people to be good team players, and you can sometimes see good doing hackathons or anything. You can actually see how a team performs, and from within a team, sometimes a leader might emerge, right? And then you sometimes look for those leadership skills also. So at the level where they come to in terms of tech skills, then the human element comes in, because you still want to know what is their intent. Do they really want this job, or they just took it as a plan B, right? So you always want in this day and age of huge number of offer declines, right, that Dilip had actually pointed out, right? So you just need to make sure that this thing. So you shouldn't actually go and offer to somebody who wouldn't accept. So I have that element always. But the platforms from where you get the information, that actually qualifies. And 70-80% of the time we get it spot on. It's very rare these days for us to have a hire where we hired somebody thinking that someone knew something and turned out to be the exact opposite. So it doesn't happen. So that helps us very much.
Thank you, Michael. I think very valid points you've shared with us. Thank you so much for that. With this, I'll move to Nitesh. Nitesh, tell me if you're getting pre-assessed profiles of these candidates. So we spoke about technology being a tool for us to help people hire the right candidate, right? So those platforms that we just spoke about. Moving forward, if you are getting pre-assessed profiles of the candidates, do you think that can make your recruitment process more efficient and effective?
I think technology as a tool in this context is very useful. In the internet age, there are a plethora of avenues to access candidate profiles, but it's the scale which is sometimes a problem. The volume of profiles you would get access to, and if you're employing, let's say, the traditional methods of keyword-based initial screening, they aren't always effective. They don't give you that confidence of relevancy and suitability at all times. What you are looking for is, in addition to that, a context into, let's say, a evidence about the use of that knowledge, those skills in delivering a solution, a evidence around somebody being a constant learner in upgrading their knowledge. And you would also want some indication that they are actually open for change. Like how Mr. Michael mentioned, that you also want to see that willingness to go for a change before you actually make an offer. And I think all of these for me are a definition of pre-assessment. So to me, a pre-assessed profile would mean that it has all of these elements present. And I think a very common example of pre-assessed profile is, let's say, an employee referral. When a current employee refers a potential candidate to you, all of these dimensions have implicitly gone into your current employee's mind before they recommend someone to you. So pre-assessed profiles definitely have a benefit. They definitely reduce the time. Now, are there other ways in which you could tap into pre-assessed profiles? Yes, LinkedIn has a skill badge, and almost everybody has spoken about the hackathons, and TechGig also has a capability to organize hackathons at scale. So I think that that's another avenue. Those are some other avenues for tapping into pre-assessed profiles. So they definitely are a means to reduce the time and improve the quality of the candidates the interviewers get to speak to.
Thank you, Nitesh. I will now move to Priya. So Priya, all of us have spoken about, using these recruitment tools to actually filter the candidates and pick up the right ones, even for the interview part. Also, as Michael was speaking, that it at least gives you that spot-on candidate to at least reach the interview round. With candidates having multiple offers, Dilip was mentioning initially that there are so many offers that the candidates have today in the market. And do you think the process that we've just spoken about helps in building a great talent pipeline? Because one offer, if somebody is declining, I think you have a backup ready, right? So how do you think this is helpful at all across verticals?
Don't blame me if I become a little more controversial over here, because I really do want to put that particular point and have a little different take at it. Talent pipeline is a myth for me, frankly speaking. Resource pool is a reality for me. But talent pipeline itself is a myth for me, because you cannot put a talent in a pipeline. You can put a talent in a network, but you cannot put a talent in a pipeline, because nobody you call as a talent will sit in the pipeline for you. So I don't think so. The second thing is the talent network is a reality today, and is it a new method? Absolutely, it is a new method. It's a very long investment. It's a time-consuming, hard investment, but it is absolutely a good investment to make. I think changing times is telling us how to go for changing avenues. Okay, one of the method I really think is talent network, which means that you, with the help of, like, for example, a tech gig, with the help of tech gig, you actually identify the prospective people, talent into the market. You make an initial contact with them. You can do a pre-assessment with whatever it is, but they're not really appearing for you. They're just there. You're looking at their approaches of any technical solution through this hackathons, internal hackathons, external hackathons, a competition spirit or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's not a solution that you're looking for. You're really looking for their approach, whether they can approach a problem in a particular way. And that's what you're going to invest in. I think that is the talent network is. And the companies like TechGig really helps in such kind of things. It's because it is easier to set up these networks. Otherwise, it takes a long time to set up such kind of networks. You help us in setting up the networks and getting that network identified. Will you encash on it tomorrow because somebody else has an offer? I don't think so. However, you will encash on it because you want to encash on it. So you will go and address that as a talent pickup. And I think then the idea of that person joining you, the chances are very, very high, because you have not put a JD, you have put a person, you have sold the company to that person, and you said, I want to utilize your skills for these reasons. And that's why you and I should align for next 3 years to 4 years, because it's a win-win. I think that would be my take on your question, because I don't think this is a myth to have this backup thing. And I'm saying this is a good thing if you are really going for a resource pool, but not as a talent mapping or a talent pipeline.
Thank you, Priya. I think you have positioned my intent in a very different perspective, and actually that adds value to what our intent and thoughts have been for the conversation, I should say. And this also brings us to the end of our discussion. Thank you for adding value to our conclave with your knowledge and insights, everyone. It was an absolute pleasure speaking with each one of you. Before I wrap up this section, it's my honest request to all of you to give me a closing remark for the session. We'll begin with Michael, please.
Oh, thank you so much, Sukriti. In fact, while I was listening to all of you, it was a whole flash of new ideas suddenly come up. Some of them I already known, but some of them the idea that there is no talent pipeline is something fascinating. The idea of using a tech gig like platform is always been there. That has been our approach anyway. And the value of traditional human-based approach is not diminished, and certainly education is still important as it is. And we still live in a pandemic. So all of those are the reminders. And I just want to thank you and all at TechGig for giving us all the opportunity to address this thing and learn something very valuable here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mahesh?
Very useful insights from all the panelists here. So thank you for that. I think the key takeaway for me is, so with the changing times, I think we have to look at innovative ways of hiring. Just doesn't apply only for hiring, probably all parts of work, and more important for the technical hiring, because that is where we see a lot of gaps between the demand and the supply.
Thank you, Dilip.
So thanks, Sukriti and TechGig for this opportunity, and I really enjoyed this session very much. I like the idea of talent network Priya has spoken about. Is a great idea, and I think it's right also. We should not call it as pipeline. I think it's the wrong word to use, pipeline, but network, talent network, a future talent network, and then we create an engagement with them. I think it's a great opportunity here. And I really thank you and thank all my panels. I learned a lot today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ashish?
Yeah, I totally agree with everyone. I think it was a very insightful session. And while there are a lot of takeaways, I think some of the key ones will be clearly, building a talent community. And, platforms like TechGig definitely gives you that, or gives you that leverage to build that community across, and even help you create your brand in the market, and making people understand that how technology is not restricted to only the technology firms, and it is even across the board, even in consulting. So I think building that talent community through TechGig and other platforms, I think that is going to be a key future.
Thank you, Ashish. Priya?
Coming at the end has its disadvantage because everybody has said everything already. So
No,
I'm
still sure you have something that will surprise all of us now.
No, I don't have anything except, I'm really privileged to be with all of you, frankly. The reason actually I participated into this panel discussion is also because this is a network in itself, and it needs to build up because we are going to face the similar problems. And although we are probably looking for a talent competition inside the same pool, at the same time, we can be a great help to each other, frankly speaking. And I think that respect comes by just listening to the fellow colleagues over here. So I'm just privileged. I think thank you so much, TechGig, actually, to call me over here and give me an opportunity to discuss things. Thanks.
Thank you, Priya. Nitesh?
Thanks, Sukriti, for the opportunity to be here. I second the thought of the network effect. For me, it has been a sounding board of, validating the ideas that I had been carrying in my head, and to listen to other panelists in terms of, how they have derived value, how they've leveraged, let's say, technology for technology hiring. So these have been very useful insight, and Michael's analogy of a bicycle, I would say that that's going to stay at the top of my head for a long time.
Thank you, Nitesh. Even I have learned a lot. I've been doing this, but this is one of those special sessions where we had so many insights that we don't normally talk about and we don't think through. So thank you so much, everyone. Once again, from the TechGig team, I would like to thank each one of you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's move to the next section. I hope you've enjoyed and had a great time listening to our eminent panelists in this discussion. I would now like to present you a masterclass by Nabomita Mazumdar.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Nabomita, you are.
Okay, awesome. And I'm visible too.
Just give us a second.
Because I can see myself. So all good? Good to go?
Yeah, you'll have to share your screen.
Yes. Thank you so much. Here we start. I hope I'm... Okay, so thank you so much, Sukriti and Teens TechGig, for offering me this opportunity to talk about an idea which was in the making since many years, and a requirement which is building the future. So yes, the panel that we just had was a beautiful example of, let me begin with saying why CHROs are becoming the CEOs of top global multinational. The panel explains that, and the thoughts that they shared is exactly what we are going to talk about: the future of work. Why are we talking technology hiring right now, right here? Future of work is the first area, vantage point, and human-centric EVP. Future of work. If you look at this diagram, this is by PwC, a report by PwC, which discuss how the industry has been segmented in terms of building the future. I'll start with the red one. The red one talks about the sector which builds the product so competitive that one can eat the other for lunch. Innovation eats regulation for lunch, and obviously talent over there is highly competitive, super competitive. I mean, cryptocurrency, we know banning them wouldn't be enough, regulations wouldn't be enough, a better service is required. Or Amazon was working fine. Then we had Geomart was working fine. So we had Zepto offering us delivering 10 minutes. Why are we talking about these kind of products and services? Because this is what the future is, and this is what you are building. And you will hire talent to build something like this or something similar to this in your own area. Next is the blue segment, which is the blue world, where corporate is the king. Companies such as IBM, who have stood the test of time and will always be there, irrespective of any pandemic, any downturn, or any kind of a industry scenario. Third is the green world, companies that are really environmentally sensitive, companies such as Tesla, some companies such as Suzlon, which are building products and building a better world as well. And final is the yellow world. The yellow world is all about building a segment, building an industry segment for human beings. This is where I want to talk about. This is exactly what our leaders in the panel just before were talking about. what is building industry for the human beings? Are these three not about human beings? Yes, they are. However, the human centricity is so high that the processes of the past, no matter how time tested and how fine they might seem, are not really designed for the future. Here, what the future requires. This is what this is a kind of a idea which came out from holding all these hackathons since year 2009. Why was it required? Yes, I'm grateful to Ms. Priya Tandon for talking about talent communities. Right then, in 2005, 2006, building talent communities started. It was prehistoric. Nobody was really thinking in that direction. Nobody really thought that this is going to be the future. Back then, TechGeek started these hackathons wherein these developers, these IT talent, these talent or candidates as we can call them, came and they participated in the real-time scenario. Why was it required? It was required because it was different from the normal interview and normal screening process. So the talent was in its own element. It did not have to pretend to be nice, or it did not have to meet the biases of the interviewers. So in its own element, it started behaving, and that's the kind of data which was built over a period of time. So the kind of screening, that kind of scorecard that you may see for a talent using TechGeek TG Pro is a time-tested scorecard which shows a talent in its real element, not in a classroom scenario, not in a interview cubicule, not trying to pretend, in its own element. Best thing, best place. Obviously, these are the few areas, which is why it helps. Why? Because the kind of scoring that the talent required, that the talent received due to those hackathons, were completely upfront on the basis of how they were presenting in vis-a-vis to other talents. I mean, yes, somebody might have received a great score in their classroom exam, but they are not really good when it comes to competing with other 10 people from other 10 institutes, from probably other 10 states, when the geographies blend. And why are we talking about geography blending? Because yes, last 18 months taught us technology rules. There is no geography. Organizations are boundaryless, and talent is everywhere. And who brings you this kind of a platform in a place with pre-verified and pre-assessed talent ready for you to be interviewed? TG Pro. Now, obviously, what does this help you? Why does this help you? Obviously, as a HR, as a hiring leader, you know the costs are more important to you. Cost, quality, and timeline is all that matters. More than that, obviously, this is something someone from TG Pro can explain better. But more than that, you know that there are hidden costs. It's not just the cost of hiring. It's not just the interview to hiring ratio. There are hidden costs of your team spending time over interviewing people who might seem interested in the profile, but is just being interviewed for the sake of negotiating with their current employer, or some reasons of their own. You do not know. You spend that cost. It goes out of your team budget to interview such candidate. When they do not turn up, it's out of your own budget. Mostly, when you interview 50 candidates for one role, it's human. It's human that there are rejections, and during rejection, what happens is you are also creating a branding image in the mind of those talent and candidates whom you might not hire, but they would still remain in the industry, assuming those about you. This is the cost that obviously you will incur at the employer branding stage. You're taking care of it right now. Hidden costs can spiral into many more ways. You know what more areas you are spending in terms of, obviously you may not require to pay for travel, but you still need to hire talents boundarylessly from different geographies. Obviously, all your time tested arenas such as consultant can definitely find you pool, but then there is a timeline as well. Here's exactly what Priya mentioned, and I really liked it. Talent pool is good. Talent pipeline is perfect. It works for so many years. However, no talent is going to behave the same way pre and post the disruption that we have faced. First thing. Second thing, obviously, the time tested methods gives you a complete view of talent that you require for your fitment. You still do not know the trainability of that talent. Over here, you will get to know, seeing the resume or seeing the kind of the kind of profile that TG Pro is going to send it to you. I'll show it to you soon, which is why you can screen smarter. Obviously, that saves your time. You are cutting short the screening process, and obviously, amongst everything, I really like. Hello. Am I audible? Am I audible? Is there anybody else talking?
No,
okay,
no.
Let me go on. Okay, sorry. So let me go on. So this is exactly where I wanted to share a story which Devinder from TG Pro team had shared. Obviously, you know all these companies who would barely hire tech talent. I mean, I know one of the large heavy machinery companies in somewhere deep in the corner of our country who would hire barely 20 IT professionals a year. During pandemic, because of the sudden surge of the or rather the technology invasion, had to hire 20 IT professional a month. Imagine the kind of scaling up that they had to do, the kind of protocols that they had to override, the kind of hierarchies they had to override to ensure that they close on the process. Did they really made it? No. Why? Because the kind of profiles that they were screening were from the processes which did not give them pre-assessed, pre-verified about the fact that the candidate is actually looking for that job. The candidate is actually interested to apply for this job. And it's not just one question. One question over the call that you may ask, are you interested in this role? Are you looking for the job? And they say you yes or no. That doesn't answer it. What answers it? A talent who is building his profile over the period of years, who is constantly working on improvements, attending webinars, attending improvement-based programs. That tells you that talent is looking for something more. He or she is not happy at the job. He or she is preparing for a better role, which obviously the profiling gives you as per your requirement. Let me take you to the next pointer. This is the exact resume format that I wanted to talk about. This is how the entire talent profiling is what you will receive when you call up the TG Pro team and you give them your requirement. Obviously, it will show you the proficiency on the number of challenges attempted, performance in the skill quotient. How is this different? How is this different from the educational certificates or the scorecards that he had received from his university? How is this different from his past job scorings? You may not have it, but still let me assume it. This is different because this happened at an environment where the talent was not really looking forward to be. They did not have to pretend. They will pretend in a interview, but they will not be able to pretend in a hackathon, which goes on for so many years over a period of time. They come and participate, and the best part is their scores from one hackathon that they have or one program that they had attended right in 2009 is still stored in the system. So you can see the kind of improvement that the talent have made. You can get your tick boxes right before you even speak to that person. Obviously, that saves a lot of your time, that saves your rejections, and that helps you bring the employer branding image that we already talked about. Obviously, the summary of skill in a nutshell gives you a better view than a 3-page resume, which probably the consultant would share with you. And obviously the entire summary of candidates' performance in the contest vis-a-vis. This is the competitive scoring that I was talking about. Think about it. Every talent would try their level best to score during any kind of a assessment, right? However, they may not have a good day. They may not have, or it might be their lucky day. So one assessment, one fine day cannot really prove who exactly is what. A series of assessment, which is vetted against many other talent of the same profile, that gives you the right kind of decision making that actually enables your decision making capabilities. Think about it. Obviously, somebody from the best college or the top tier 1 college suits your profile. However, that person from the tier 1 college doesn't really score well when he is vetted against 10 more candidates of his profile from other colleges. Does this affect you? Yes, because even though you may have a tier 1 college in mind, what you're looking for is trainability. What you're looking for is that cutting edge proficiency for the skill set. What you're looking for is that shark skills, the shark instinct, where the candidate is going to put himself through for the job without trying to please anyone. And obviously it also saves your team from the human biases, because now that the geographies are gone, now that the boundaries are gone, you don't really get to choose that, okay, fine, people from this particular area would only be good for this job. You don't have to worry about it. The technology has already taken care of all those human biases. It is absolutely a bias proof, error proof, or rather I would say it's a future proof product that helps you choose the candidate at a very shortest span of time than any other arenas can. Let me look into the next one. Sorry. Okay, I have a bad throat. So, participation history of the candidate with performance, difficulty of challenges and skill required for the contest. This is an in-depth view which probably you would arrive at after interviewing a candidate for 45 minutes probably in person, because over the call they might be able to hide or play around with words. Over here you do not have to depend on any such things, because this data has been collected over the period of years. And obviously the webinar participation, as I had mentioned before, shows the kind of trainability, the kind of intent a candidate has towards improving themselves, towards looking for a job, towards being more employable than anybody else can. I mean, this is one product which literally gives you a score on employability, which literally gives you a score on trainability, which literally gives you score on the preparedness of a candidate to join the job. So yes, if you have those areas for which you're paying somebody who might be very good in scoring in exams, educational exams, but not really trainable, you're saving on that cost. Somebody who might be too eager while talking to you over the phone but doesn't really want the job, you're saving on that cost. So it is a product which actually saves you from different kind of failures as you take a step towards the right direction. Next look. This is the final idea that I would leave you with. Yes, the HR leaders are the CEOs of the future, and we already have Miss Leena Nair taking up Chanel as CEO, proving that. And we will have many of you taking the CEO's office in future, because whatever process you have designed it for future. Whatever challenges that you have faced, you have kept the solution for the future in mind. You're not just designing for today. You're not just deciding for this particular project that you're hiring for. You are thinking for the next 3 months. You're thinking for the next 18 months. You're thinking for the next 22 months. So if you're thinking long term, what are the areas that you would actually think about? Obviously, using technology is probably a part and a parcel of your life right now. Using the right kind of technology, which doesn't use up your screen time or your time limit, which doesn't use up your cost, which doesn't use up your budget, which also helps you to create a better employment branding, is the one that you're looking for, if I'm not wrong. And I'm sure with the kind of hiring that you have gone through since the last 18 months, you have a better view to what exactly works for you when you suddenly have to hire somebody who had gone to his hometown and probably wasn't hired again. So obviously, if I mean, God forbid, if it was through a consultant, the consultant would show a gap in the job and you reject it. But this kind of profiling shows you, even in those duration when he did not have a job and he was in the hometown, how many ways was he preparing for the role that you're looking for? How many, what is the kind of scores that he has vis-a-vis to the people who may not have a job gap, but is not actually interested in your role, joining your role right now. So think about it. It's a cost saving in many ways. It's a value creation in many ways. It's actually the building future in more than one way, using technology through people, through communities. And sorry, Sukriti, is it about time? It's about time. Okay, thank you. So with that, I would leave you with a call for an action. You're building the future. You're going to run the company, whichever company, wherever be it. You have a product, you have a design for a service in mind. Yes, this is the kind of step that you wanted to take. What else do you want? I really want to hear from you. What else have worked for you in last 18 months, which is why you're planning your next 22 months or running the company in the future? I am looking forward to hear from you. This is a call for an action to all those leaders who had great success with every arenas, using every arenas for hiring, and to everyone who has used this kind of a future-proof of a product which is based for future, which is built for future. I wait to hear from you. So I'll be there in the networking zone. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Nabomita. All right. Now it's time to move ahead with the next segment. TechGeek has been a pioneer in helping corporates not only hire the best tech talent, but also build a great brand value in the market. And we've helped the biggest tech giants like Cognizant, Geo, UiPath, Persistent, and many more on both techies at the world's biggest coding competition, Code Gladiators. With raging participation of more than 3 lakh and solutions to the real world problems, TechGeek is aiding both the candidates and the corporates the best exposure possible. Ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted and honored to have Manoj Madhusudan, head of dunnhumby India, with me for an exclusive fireside chat today. Welcome to the Conclave, Manoj. So happy to have you here.
Thank you, Sukriti. Feels very nice to be here, and thank you for inviting me.
Lovely. So, I would quickly go ahead with the, things that I would want to know from you. To begin with, I would want to know that how has your experience been in partnership with TechGeek altogether?
So we have been partnering, dunnhumby has been partnering with TechGeek for, I think this is the 3rd year in the running. It's been a fantastic experience from the word go. I would be very honest, we were very nervous in 2019 when we experimented with the whole model of conducting hackathons and using it for a variety of reasons, for branding, brand building, for hiring, We were nervous because we never ventured out into, and I personally had not done myself in any of my previous organizations also. In fact, that was the year I joined dunnhumby in 2019. So we were a bit nervous, I must admit, but the whole experience was so fantastic. When we launched, we got, I think, the more than 10,000 submissions came in the first go, which revved up the engine really well. And this was pre-pandemic, so we could create the funnel, shortlist people, and then have the 30 finalists come to dunnhumby office on a Saturday and do the final event, and meeting people from across the country, flying to Gurgaon and doing the finals, right? That was again a very nice experience for us. So from there it kickstarted, and then we have been partnering on a variety of areas, including the Geek Goddess contest that happened recently. Very happy with the outcome and the assistance it provided for the brand to expand and reach the engineering and data science community. So,
thank you. I'm so happy to hear that. Since we spoke about competitions, Manoj, I would want to know that being an expert here, what are the advantages you see of the coding contests and hackathons altogether for the corporates here?
There are multiple advantages, and it depends on from which vantage point you want to look at, right? The priority will vary. For us, the number one priority was we want more in the tech community to know about dunnhumby. So we do some great work, lots of innovation, and dunnhumby has a reputation of being a really reputed data science company. But beyond that, we also have a strong engineering and product development capabilities that we are building in India. So doing this codathon, has really helped us build that brand. Yes, because once you do something like this, it's not just that you're reaching out to people and they're just submitting their entries. By looking at what they have to submit, the kind of problems they need to address to get ahead in the competition, you're also giving them an opportunity to see, look, this is the kind of stuff that you might be doing in real life, right? So it's a bit of a slice of the real life problem that you are presenting when you are onto these codathon events, which again, it's not just about, okay, everyone knows about dunnhumby, but also, okay, this must be a place where there's a lot of innovative work happening, if this is the curtain raiser or preview that we are getting from the company with this kind of an event. So brand building is number one. It's a big advantage. Second is hiring itself, and that happens in two ways. One is if you have this whole funneling, and then there are finalists, and you could take their CVs if they are interested, and then interview. So far, we are still optimizing. I must admit, we have had limited success for the direct hiring, because we are also trying to figure, because sometimes it will be like, okay, I don't want to relocate to Gurgaon, even if I am entering the codathon, or my experience level is not same as what you are looking for. So there are those mismatches that happen. But what I've seen is, and I'm pretty sure that 10,000 people, if they are from across the country applying for this, there would be many people who would have registered the name dunnhumby. Maybe 3 months, 6 months, 1 year later, they would just apply separately. So can you measure all of that in a quantifiable way? Not possible. But I'm pretty sure we have been able to overall, hire, even during the pandemic, close to 250 people in dunnhumby India office in the last 18 months. And in fact, more than 250 people. And we have significant hiring targets for next year as well. So all of that we have been able to achieve because the word is spreading, the whole brand dunnhumby. And that is helping the engineering talent to just proactively apply to dunnhumby. And I'm sure this has played a significant role. Third is innovation, right? So if you look at these coding competitions and hackathons and codathons, this also gives a significant opportunity to spur innovation, come up with ideas, involve the community, and even it can lead to some new products. So again, we haven't really gone that far, but I'm pretty sure over the next 2 or 3 years, we would be gaining a lot more on the innovation front as well from these events that we conduct.
Thank you. Let's go ahead, and I would want to know about the brand building part here. That how has this entire process had helped you bring your brand reach out to a mass altogether in the market?
So one part is what I already said, right? The engineering talent is getting to know of us, and word of mouth. But even beyond that, we had press releases, from dunnhumby's, own handle, as well as my own handle. We did social media posts, which again garnered a lot of attention that we're doing this, and all of those kind of things add up. So when you look at the brand building, the key question is, first question that we want to answer is, do people really know about dunnhumby, right? So in fact, a few years back when I joined, there were people who were asking, why are you part of Dun and Bradstreet, right? So I don't hear that question anymore, because I think we have become a little more of somewhat of a household name in the engineering and data science community in the past few years. So we wanted to be known to more people, and conducting the event and then publicizing, popularizing this, spreading this on social media, all of this adds up. I wish I had a brand measurement tool which says that, okay, it was 3.5 and it's gone to 4.3 out of 5. But unfortunately, we haven't been able to measure that accurately. But from all the vibes I'm getting, the messages, the reactions on social media, these events have helped us build our employer brand significantly in the country.
So I think, Manoj, your happiness quotient and your satisfaction quotient is something that I can actually, that's a qualifier for me, I should say, that, it has really helped dunnhumby, create that name that's stirred in the market as a brand altogether. So thank you for those things that you've shared with us. Would you recommend, TechGig as a peer, to your peers in the market? And why would you do that if you would, any recommendation is in there?
So I would recommend, but I don't think TechGig will need my recommendation, because the tech community, the developers and the data scientists and this whole community, if you look at, right, it's kind of leading platform, and people go there very often. So it has a great reputation with that community, right? So in fact, by being on the platform, I must say this, we gain the benefits of all the people who are fans of TechGig, and then attract them to contests that we do through dunnhumby, right? So it's both ways. So I would absolutely be very happy to recommend this platform. It's pretty easy, intuitive, the whole process. Sukriti, working with the entire TechGig team has been a very pleasant experience, right? So it has been a happy experience so far, and we hope that it stays that way.
You've made our day. Thank you so much. That actually means a lot coming from you, Manoj. Thank you so much. Absolute delight to hear all those experiences you had with us. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. This is a good chat. Quick, short, sweet one.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thanks a lot.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I will present you another guest that I have with me today for this exclusive chat, Karthikeyan Mariappan, VP of Engineering, Titanium Inc.
Thank you, Sukriti, for introducing me. My name is Karthik. I am VP of Engineering and a co-founder at Titanium. We are a startup based in Silicon Valley, California. And we have been using TechGig Pro for the last 3 months, try to ramp up our hiring. And so far, my experience with TechGig Pro has been very pleasant in the sense that I am able to get the results that I want. I have used other sources of candidates, and it has been always a challenge. With TechGig Pro, it's been really clear. The candidates know what we are trying to accomplish, and they expect and they're prepared. Whereas some of the other channels, it's been a real challenge for us. Sometimes they even feel surprised that we are even contacting them for hiring and interview purposes. And TechGig has helped minimize. In fact, in some of the cases, we have gone from the first touch to actually getting to an offer stage in literally a week's time. And that's been amazing for us. And we could actually really focus our time in the most efficient way in hiring, so that we can focus on other parts of the company building and the product building as well. So it's been really pleasant, and I would certainly recommend TechGig Pro to others if you are looking to hire It's a great resource, and you can certainly find what you want working with the folks at TechGeek Pro. Thank you, Sukriti, for giving me an opportunity to talk about my experience, and good luck to you all.
Thank you so much, Karthikeyan. Lovely to hear those things from you. Let's move to the next segment, which is going to actually check your observations and listening power audience. Our product lead, Jagadi Turuk from the TechGeek team, is going to present a demo. You need to listen to this demo and be very observant, carefully listen to everything that he's going to present, because our upcoming section where we have the trivia quiz will have some questions from the demo, right? So ensure that you cautiously listen to this so that you can win Amazon vouchers worth rupees 12,000. Over to you, Jagat.
Thank you, Sukriti. Thank you, Sukriti. So it was a pleasure listening to all the panelists and Nabomita and Karthikeyan. So a lot of insights there. Before I get into the presentation, I would like to set some context on why we built TechGeek Pro. So we were already, in a sense, working on some of the problems that the IT recruitment industry was facing. But there was a fundamental thought there. The thought was, can we do better? Some of the problems which the the tech recruitment industry was facing was of time, speed of hire. Can we get to the right talent quickly? It was of discovery. Can we figure out from a candidate's profile whether he's the right fit for my organization? And during the pandemic, we figured out that there was another problem which companies were facing, which was shortage of people taking the interviews. So the line managers also double up as interviewers for getting in tech talent. So there was a crunch there, which was leading to higher lead times in terms of hiring. So the fundamental question was there: can we eliminate line manager interviews out of the process? Was there a method to do it? So these were the thoughts with which we started, and we were looking for a solution. There were a couple of solutions that were already there from TechGeek. One is the assessment product that we have, which helps you to build your tailor-made assessment as per your hiring requirement in a matter of minutes, and it helps you assess people on skills that matter. It's not just a CV-based profiling that you do, which is, as many of the panelists highlighted, inefficient because of the keyword match mechanism that most people use. We also have a contest and hackathon platform. As many of the panelists said, the contest hackathon platforms helps you identify not just people who can build solutions for some of the problems that you give. It also helps you observe people in a real work environment and understand team dynamics. So when we give our contest and hackathon solution, we are not just giving you the power of the assessment platform, but we also give you access to 70% of India's tech community. These two things were something which were already there, but the question was, could we do better? With that thought, we worked on the data that we were sitting on, which is literally a gold mine, and then we built a product which would help you address many of these problems that I spoke about. Yeah. The true cost of hiring when it comes to IT recruitment is something which is overlooked and ignored. What the line manager is usually concerned about is who are the top 10 people that have come to me. But the entire funnel mechanism which works in the backend, that is conveniently ignored. What that leads to is a very high cost and a huge lead times in terms of hiring, which is usually overlooked. So this is a typical funnel. We have taken a hybrid approach in which you start with a job listing, and also you do an assessment at the end as part of your screening mechanisms. As you can see on the screen, it starts with a job listing, which lets you post your job on a job board. Then you get interests from candidates, which is your sourcing process. Once you have sourced the candidates, you put them through a pre-screening mechanism by putting the data into an ATS, or by having people look at the resumes manually, or any other mechanisms to pre-screen candidates. Once you have pre-screened the candidates, you want to put them through a basic technical round before passing them on to the line manager for a face-to-face interview. If you look at the aggregated cost and time there, for it, so this is primary research that we had done as part of our research mechanisms. For hiring getting about 20 interview ready candidates, you have a lead time of about 21 days, and there's the average cost of about 3.3 lakh rupees. So those are numbers that that has come from our primary research. This is something which has been validated by a lot of our clients. It's the only reason people don't come to know it, because what happens before the line manager does the interview is usually overlooked. So how does TechGig Pro help you address that? TechGig Pro gives you, what is TechGig Pro? So TechGig Pro is a pre-assessed profile. It is also a verified profile. So when we say pre-verified, it is a profile that has been verified by the TechGig team, and it's someone who's looking for a job. It is someone who's specifically interested in the job listing that you have. Pre-assessed means the user, the profile has been validated in terms of his skill proficiency in the skills that you are looking at. So those are two fundamental keywords which are there when it comes to the TechGig profile. The advantage there is that it helps you screen faster. So when you look at a typical resume, what does it has? It has work experience. It has a basic profile of the candidate. It has the education. That is a self-certification. It is the candidate saying that this is something that I have done. I'll show you a typical TG Pro profile. What does a TG Pro profile have in contrast to a usual CV? It has a history of the contests that you have done. It has your performance in each of those contests that you have participated in. And it also gives you a benchmark for the skill that you are looking at versus the entire industry. So that, in a sense, is a more objective way of looking at a candidate for a skill that you are looking to hire. What are the advantages there? Every company, so when we look at our data for every company, we can know that what is the skill score for a particular skill at which people typically would get hired. So suppose there's a company A, we can tell you exactly at what score for Java a candidate is likely to get hired. Now, how is that helpful? It is helpful because the candidate knows that which are the companies where the probability of he getting hired is high. And the company also knows that, okay, this is a candidate whose probability of getting hired into my company is high. So that matchmaking process is quite efficient there. Since it is pre-assessed and it is pre-validated, the conversion ratios are much higher. Since you also have the performance and upskilling history of the candidate, you can also evaluate the profile in terms of learnability, etc. Since you have a benchmark against the industry, you know where the candidate stands in that particular skill with respect to the entire industry. So when we compare TG Pro with the traditional hiring mechanisms that we have, what we have seen that the conversion ratios are much higher, and also the lead time is much lower. So when we look at a typical hiring process, the lead time is anywhere between 21 days to more than 21 days. It can go up to 2 months, 3 months, depending on the profile. In the case of TG Pro, what we have seen is that the lead time can be as low as 7 days, as Karthik and was pointing out a few minutes back. Now the question is, how do we do it? We run about 400 to 600 recruitment-related contests and hackathons in a year. Every time a candidate participates in any hackathon, his TG Pro profile gets updated. His TG Pro profile gets updated on the basis of his performance in each of the contests that he has participated in. We also do 2 large events. One is TechGeek Geek Goddess, which we concluded 2 months back. And we also do something called TechGeek Code Gladiators, which Sukriti has been highlighting throughout the session. So these are 2 large funnels of assessing candidates and putting them into the TG Pro database. So I'll briefly touch on Code Gladiators in the next slide, because that's our key mechanism of adding TG Pro profiles into the system. So we add about 1/4 to 500,000 pre-assessed users annually into the TG Pro database, and this is across skills. So we have TG Pro database for more than 80 tech-related skills in the database. This has been the history of Code Gladiators. Why this slide is important is the sheer scale at which we do this. Every user. So when we look at last year, we had about 3.16 lakh users who registered for it. Every user who participated in TechGeek Code Gladiators became a part of the TG Pro database. So this adds about 200,000 profiles to the TG Pro database every year, and is our biggest source of adding profiles to the TG Pro database. We also do internal skill assessments. So these are skill assessments that candidates can come and they can take on the platform. Most of the contests and tests that we do are proctored. So we do audio video proctoring, we do switch tab proctoring, and we also prevent things like people going out of the window, etc. So that helps make the TG Pro profile more robust, because the sanctity of the tests that they have taken, that is something which is ensured by the platform. Now, what makes TG Pro skill-based resume better than a conventional resume? This is something that I covered briefly earlier. What a conventional resume tells you is what the candidate is willing to tell you on his profile. What the TG Pro resume tells you is how the candidate has performed in the skills that you are looking to hire. So, and these tests are proctored, the sanctity, the integrity of these tests are maintained. So when you look at the profile, you know, okay, this is someone who's at a 1 percentile when it comes to Java. So the guy has to be really good at Java. So the fundamental difference is in the conventional resume, it's a self-certification. In the TG Pro resume, it's his performance, it's his historical performance. It is his interest area that is that he likes to consume content on or learn about, that you can look at and figure out that whether the candidate is the right fit for your company or not. This is the process for TG Pro. So the way it works is you share a job description with us. What we will do is we'll look into our database. We will then give you a list of candidates who fit exactly to your JD, and when you get the resumes, you can then match them with the JD, and then you can take your interviews. So we have a team working in the backend to ensure that the profiles that we give you are the best profiles when it comes to a match with your job description. So Nabomita had briefly covered about the TG Pro resume. So I'll show you an actual resume. I'll show you the platform. I'll show you how the TG Pro resume is, TG Pro profile is generated. And then I'll also briefly show you a comparison between two TG Pro profiles for two different skills for the same candidate. So that will give a sense of how one particular candidate can be a good fit for a certain skill, but will not be a good fit for another skill. Yeah, so this is how the platform looks like. We have about once again, yeah, we have about 2 million pre-assessed users on the platform, which is the highest database of pre-assessed profiles which exists anywhere in the world. These are the different skills for which we have the pre-assessed resumes. What we'll do is we'll look at one of the skills. Let's take machine learning as an example. So we have about 41,543 pre-assessed users on the platform in machine learning. Yeah, so the user in the search, we get users by their score. So when we look at the first user, he's someone who's an MTech from IIT Kharagpur. There are different filters which are available. We can filter users by location. We can filter users by skills on their profile. We can filter users by company. We can filter users by what college they have studied in, and we can filter them by gender. We can also filter users by the experience bucket that they will fall in. If we would want to have profiles in multiple skills, we can do an and or search on the platform. What I'll do is I'll just go ahead and pull out the first profile and show you how that looks like. So all you have to do is click here and it will download the profile. Once downloaded, this is how the profile is going to look like. Oh, so this is someone who has 17 years of experience and is very active on the platform. So the green, the green ones, green bubbles are the ones for which there's a profile score which is generated. The blue and the orange ones are the ones for which there's no profile score generated. So if we scroll down, so when we look at this profile, we know this is someone who's very active on the platform, has taken all kind of tests on the platform. If you click on, yeah, if you click on download here, it gives you a choice of what skills that you want to choose. So I chose artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data science, and downloaded the profile. It will give you the score and it will give you the score and comparative analysis of all the skills, but the contest listings will be only for the tests for the skills that you have chosen. So when we look at this particular profile, he is at a top 1% when it comes to big data, top 1% when it comes to machine learning, top 1% when it comes to data science, top 1% when it comes to SQL, top 1% when it comes to C, and a whole lot of other technologies. A top 1% for cloud computing, top 1% for artificial intelligence. And it also tells you what topics has he been assessed in. So when we look at big data, the candidate has been assessed in Hadoop, Hive, Pig. So we would have questions around these topics in the tests that this user has taken. And he's at 100 percentile for all the skills. So when we scroll down further, when we scroll down further, it will give a listing of the different contests related to artificial intelligence, data science, and machine learning, the 3 skills that we chose when we generated the resume. So we can see that the candidate has been participating in a lot of AI and data science related contests, and he's been in the top 20-30 percentile for most of the contests, and he's been in the top 3 percentile for some of the contests. The contest complexity is also given. So it gives you a sense of whether he's been performing well in difficult contests or he has been performing well in easy contests. It also tells you what skills the contests were in. And if you further scroll down, if you further scroll down, it will have a listing of the different webinars and learning sessions he has attended, and it will also give you a basic profile. So when we look at this profile is more actionable. This profile gives insights about the user's interest area. It gives you insights about the user's tech proficiency in the different skills that you are hiring for. What we will do now is I'll show you one profile which gives you a sense of comparison for one candidate for 2 different skills. So this is this was a requirement which had come in from a client, and they wanted to hire women candidates in DevOps and Azure. So we had one candidate who fit into both the profiles. But when we look at her DevOps profiles, she's in the top 95%. There's a 95% match. She's in the top 2% in DevOps, top 9% when it comes to cloud computing, etc. So she's in the top percentile bucket when it comes to DevOps and cloud computing. For DevOps, she's a perfect match, 95%. But the same candidate, when we pulled out her profile for Azure, she was at a 75% match. So the same candidate, she's been taking part in contests for both DevOps and cloud computing. In DevOps, it's a perfect match. In the case of Azure, it's not so much a perfect match. So what the algorithm does in the backend is from the search, it figures out how your performance has been in the skills that you are looking for. It also looks at whether there's an experience or location-based criteria which has been fed in. Your performance is the most important criteria. If you have done well there, then your match score will be high. The next will be experience and location. So we can see that what the engine does is it takes your requirement, it looks at the candidate's performance with respect to your requirement, and then it generates a profile and stack ranks people on the basis of their profile match. So this candidate is most likely to be accepted for a DevOps role in this particular company and was a fit match for the company, but not so much for an Azure profile. That kind of clarity will be very difficult to get from the traditional CV. When you look at 2 comparable CVs, you would not know who would be a better match for what profile. What the TG Pro profile helps you do is objectively look at a candidate's profile and stack rank them with 100% surety that this is a candidate who's better than the next one. The next one is better than the third one. So it helps you objectively do that, which is why the conversion ratios are high, because the skill proficiency bit is taken care of there. And since the mechanism in the backend also does a validation that the candidate is interested in your company, the conversion ratios are high there. So that brings me to the end of my presentation, but I would like to leave everyone with a thought. So one of the problems which I had highlighted was the bandwidth crunch that many companies are facing when it comes to interviewing candidates and getting them in. So there's one proposition that we made to a lot of companies, and which was kind of accepted by a lot of companies, that why don't you look at a TG Pro profile and then you can eliminate the line manager interview. This is a candidate who has performed consistently and has been a top ranker in the skills that you are looking for? Can we do away with the line manager interview and just do a fitment interview and get him onboarded into the company? So I think that's where the industry is shifting towards. And since it's a teething problem that a lot of companies are facing, TG Pro profile addresses that, and it helps you bring down your time to hire, bring down your cost of hiring, and also helps you get better candidates in the smallest amount of time. Thank you, Sukriti.
Thank you so much, Jagat. I'm sure our audience has made notes of what you've just presented us. Audience, for you, we are going to present the trivia quiz now. The link will be displayed on the screen. Please go ahead and participate. Just follow the instructions, which will be given on this link, and then you need to answer those questions. Your enthusiastic participation and observation power will earn you Amazon vouchers worth rupees 12,000. The link is displayed on the screen right now. In case you're not able to pick up the link from this screen, you can also avail it from the lobby area near the help desk. All you need to do is copy paste this link in the browser, and then you'll be able to navigate through the trivia quiz, right? Couple of things that I would want to tell you here. There are 2 attempts and 15 minutes for the quiz, and the link will be live throughout the day today. So go ahead, you can participate, you can win vouchers, and interestingly, you'll also come to know about our product. The winner announcement will be made tomorrow on our LinkedIn page by the end of the day. So you'll have to wait for the results. Just stir up, go participate. And this is based, some simple questions that Jagat has just presented the demo for. Go ahead, participate. We'll be, for this section particularly, we have, 5 minutes that's slotted here. So apart from this, in case if you're not able to complete the quiz within this time frame, you can actually avail it later on also, because it will be live on the platform till the end of the day today. So go ahead and participate. Also, to talk about the leaderboard participation here, as I mentioned earlier, I called out the scores that you will be actually earning. If you see the agenda, you have 5 scores. If you are visiting the auditorium, you earn 5. Visiting the exhibition hall will earn you 10. Video chat with the booth staff 20. Downloading the brochure 20. Chatting in the network lounge 40. Filling in the query form 30. And particularly participating in this trivia quiz altogether will give you 50. So go ahead, participate. This is, going to be a bonus for you in case if you participate, and you can ascend in the leaderboard as well. For leaderboard, I would want to also mention that we'll be actually giving out vouchers to the top 8, engagements that we'll be driving on the platform. And altogether, there's rupees 8,000 Amazon vouchers that we are allocating today to the leaderboard winners. So go ahead and participate. I would, like to call the course once again for your convenience. The agenda, you earn 5, visiting the auditorium 5, visiting the exhibition hall 10, video chat with the booth staff 20, downloading the brochure 20, chatting in the network lounge 40, filling in the query form 30, and participation in the trivia quiz 50. So I hope you guys, have stayed tuned till we have completed this session so far, and you've earned your points. We will reveal the winners also very soon for this. So you'll have to stay tuned. Meanwhile, for those of you who are participating, we're looking forward to our top 12 winners for the trivia quiz today. And the winners will be declared tomorrow by evening on our LinkedIn page. You'll have to stay tuned for your names to be declared as winners tomorrow. So stay tuned. Okay. We've already passed 3 minutes for the quiz. So let's see how the entire process for you is going on. The results will be out tomorrow, as I mentioned. 2 attempts, 15 minutes altogether. You'll be able to run through the quiz for 15 minutes, and you just have 2 attempts. Okay. But this is the link will be live throughout the day today. So in case if you're not able to make it up once in this section that we've opened it up for, you can actually facilitate one more time after this conclave because the platform is already there. For people who are not able to open the link in their browser, you can go to the lobby area near the help desk. You'll be able to find the link there as well. You can actually copy paste it from there as well and start with the trivia quiz. Also, folks, we are, at the end of our conversation after this, of the conclave altogether. So, I'm sure you're holding your excitement. We have actually, made sure that the engagement is fine enough for you, and we hold on to you. And the trivia quiz that we have, interestingly, has vouchers and some interesting features that you would come to know about. So you will have to just see and go on, participate. This will also actually tell us as a platform that how interesting the entire conclave was for you. So please help us understand that. You have 2 more minutes actually, audience. It's 3:56. We will be ending the link on the screen. The display will end at sharp 4. I could tell you. So let's just get going with the quiz. I hope the excitement is still there and we will see our top winners by tomorrow. Don't stop, in terms of making your efforts there. Let's see, it's 3:56, 4 more minutes to go. And then 4 o'clock sharp, we will end the link that's visible on the screen right now. And we'll move to the next segment after this. For those of you who've missed out the details, in case if you're participating, the winners will be announced tomorrow evening on our LinkedIn page. So you'll have to stay tuned to our page of LinkedIn till tomorrow and wait for the results. The top 12 winners will be declared there, who would be winning vouchers. Process. You just have to click onto the link, follow the simple instructions there, and answer the questions. So just go ahead. I hope you guys are having a good time attempting the quiz. We would not hold you for long after this. 2 more minutes to go, audience. Okay. We are done with the quiz. Now, as we are, about to wrap up this entire conclave, I would like to invite Shikha Sani, Regional Manager, International Sales, Hyderabad and North India, TietoEVRY, for the word of thanks.
Thanks so much, Sukriti. I think it was a great session. I spent a lot of time making my notes because it helps me to understand what is the shift in the industry. So earlier you started with a shift from the educational skills to the genuine skills that somebody have, professional skills that we have. Then Priya highlighted a very nice point that this has always been in the existence, and now how we are changing our industry is how do people show their skills is getting more important. Then we also highlighted a couple of points wherein we were talking about how the interviewer is unable to understand the skills of a candidate while they're interviewing in a short span of 1 hour. And sometimes there's vice versa as well. The candidates have a brilliant resumes, but their skills are not doing justice to their resumes. So, of course, the need of the hour is to have pre-assessed candidates. Those pre-assessed candidates could be found in both ways with TietoEVRY. If you want a little employer branding, like Manoj said, so dunnhumby has been doing a lot of engagements with us. They primarily do it for employer branding and then finding out the correct candidate, which could be done with the format of an hackathon or a coding contest. And the second one is not doing any employer branding, but just reaching out to candidates who've already been pre-assessed on our platform. So both those things can be incorporated depending on the kind of time somebody has for hiring. And candidates, of course, come on TietoEVRY to learn, compete, and grow. It's an engagement platform for technologists and become very easy for companies like dunnhumby, ITC to hire from us. So of course, I mean, we are all here to help you guys out. Make sure you reach out to TechGeek for any new engagements that you want in terms of hiring solutions, and we'll be there to help you. I would like to meet you at the networking lounge to make sure I could answer some of your questions. And thank you, Sukriti, for calling me in.
Thank you so much, Shikha. And, I'm sure everybody had a great time. That's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you had a great time and some great learnings from our eminent panelists and speakers today. Before I sign off, I would like to reiterate on the trivia quiz and the leaderboard here, which will be the trivia quiz will be live till the end of the day today. And we'll be declaring the results for both the trivia quiz as well as the leaderboard engagement on our LinkedIn page by tomorrow evening, actually. So stay tuned for the results. Everyone, stay safe, take care. Thank you so much for joining. This is Sukriti signing off.